Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Worth Mentioning, where we're going to dive into the four major sports and the biggest news to come out of each one over the last week. This week, we're going to start off with the NHL, where just last night, the Vegas Golden Knights were your 23 Stanley Cup champions. Josh, did you have this team winning?
It's crazy.
Did you have this team winning from the start?
I mean, no, not really. I don't know. It feels weird to pick an expansion team this quick, even though they already had been to the finals. But it's just crazy.
Yeah, some weird things happened with their roster, but ultimately they were a pretty well-rounded team. They just got some really hot goaltending, so props to Aiden Hill coming in for Brossoit, who also outperformed the guy ahead of him in Hellebuck when they played against the Jets. That was pretty crazy. They beat a super hot Oilers team in that finals. Man, props to the coaching staff for all the defensive strategy counters to the Panthers. Speaking about those Panthers, props to them. That was an impressive, feisty team. The key to their game was their forecheck, and those Knights just held them off. Bob showed that $10 million value contract that he got a couple of years ago. He definitely showed up for them. He carried them through a couple series. Along with that was Tkachuk. He definitely established himself this year. He definitely showed that he's up there with the greats in the league right now. And that trade for him out of Calgary was absolutely beautiful. He got to go where he wanted. And that team has just performed super well with him. He has put up a couple seasons now of 100 points. That's a huge accomplishment. And I think Florida's about to become a pretty hot spot for some free agents.
Do you think 9 goals is the most goals scored in a Stanley Cup winning game?
I mean, I want to say yes, but just thinking about the Canadians in like the 40s and the Islanders in the 60s, if it was 60s, 80s, I think it was 80s. It's going to be hard.
Okay, so note from Future Deport here. I did look it up. The only 3 teams to ever score 9 goals in the Stanley Cup Finals are the Golden Knights, the Maple Leafs, and the Detroit Red Wings. However, the Golden Knights were the only team to score 9 goals in a Stanley Cup clinching game. Jumping over to the NBA, the Denver Nuggets also got it done in what has been collectively, at least on the internet, it's coming across as one of the least overall exciting and interesting finals. And I don't know. Do you think it's just because there's not really there wasn't a face of the league in there? There wasn't something to draw in the casual viewer?
I mean, definitely. As soon as LeBron's not in there, as much as people want to meme on ESPN all the time, like, well, what does this mean for LeBron's career? The fact is, you care. The fact is, he draws attention. He draws.
It doesn't have to be LeBron necessarily, but yeah, I see where you're coming. Like, even if the Warriors being in there or KD being in there, like if any of the big draws, the big names that everybody, that you could say in any household and someone be like, oh, I've heard of him. He plays basketball. I don't think there was anybody on either team that you could just mention in a casual household with nobody really watches basketball that would have any idea. But I mean, the funny part about that is we talk about that, and then you got Jokic being interviewed after winning the championship, and he just wants to go home.
Yeah,
like the dude's really, I'm not, no hate, by the way. But the dude's at work. The dude's at work and had to work a bunch of overtime this season and won a championship and now wants to go home. I guess he got interviewed. He got asked, if he was excited for the parade. He's like, when's the parade? He's like, no, I got to go home. He's like, no, you got to be here till Friday. He wants to go home. He did his job. He wants to go home and enjoy himself. But it's weird. It is a weird final. I don't know what the ratings looked like. I can only go off of what I've heard, but it's kind of crazy. It feels like the NBA finals were kind of like, they just kind of happened.
Yeah, it seemed like the biggest hype was kind of just around the Miami Heat. It felt like more people were just excited about the Heat being there and making that run with all their undrafted free agents, doing the complete opposite of what you've seen in the past with Boston with the big 3, Miami, and then KD joining the Warriors. Like, it always just seemed like build the super team, go win. Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra down in Miami said, we're going to make it work with a true team. And it was kind of inspiring, honestly, kind of like movie-esque, kind of like what you love about sports, how you just have the team come together, a team that cares about one another as people and just performing. But kind of sucked that it just didn't come together at the end.
Well, jumping over to MLB now, full disclosure, we don't do a ton of digging on our MLB news, but something stood out to me this week. The Oakland A's, who have been historically bad this season, Would you believe me if I told you they currently have the longest win streak in all of baseball, and they just extended it last night to 7 games? And I just want to throw a big congratulations out to the Oakland A's. That last win now makes them the second worst team in the league.
Wow, that's a big jump for them.
So shout out to the Royals, who now wear that crown.
Yeah, I would say I follow a lot of sports media in general. But the only thing I really see about the MLB seems to be bad things about the A's. And that's like their fans who last night, I believe, last night did like a complete silent protest in the first inning, which then led to them chanting "sell the team." So there are problems in Oakland.
Not for long, because
yeah, well, that's going to be my thing. Like, if they stay good for now and put something together, is there any chance they stay?
No,
I don't think
so. And just, I mean, I know this will take us right into the wrap up for MLB, but the plan for the A's is clearly ownership wants to make money, but they don't want to do it by making a good team. So what are they going to do? They're going to move to Vegas. They're going to put a ballpark on the Strip. They're going to make it like half the size, maybe 3/4 the size of a normal field, just knowing they're going to sell tickets to every baseball fan that just takes a trip to Vegas and wants to catch a game. They're going to fill up that stadium pretty consistently just off tourism alone. And, you know, unfortunately for Oakland fans, their team truly did just get turned into an investment. And they are not at all a part of that investment. So pick a new team, or I guess you can keep following them. But this ownership does not care about the fans of this one. This is a disgusting and obvious, you know, money first, screw, you know, any history of the team or the fan base. It's pretty heartbreaking. I'm glad it's not happened to any of our teams.
And the other team that moved out of there in the NFL, right? Oakland Raiders did the same thing. They're now the Vegas Raiders. And talking about the NFL, there are a couple big things going on. Probably the biggest are the Hopkins news. Met with the Titans, met with the Patriots. No offers made to him yet. And that is starting to make me question, like, where are the good teams that want him? If you're meeting with the Titans,
I thought D-Hop was supposed to still be so good. There's no problems. Where are all the offers at?
I'm just saying, like, it is concerning that he's been a free agent for so long, and it doesn't feel like you're hearing any links, anyone that he like mentioned that he wanted to play with, right? He wanted like a quarterback that loved the game and could sling the ball, an organization that is like well-rounded in their front office. And I can't remember the last thing he said, but I'm telling you right now, if like Patriots, Mac Jones doesn't scream what he wants. The Patriots front office kind of does, but I'm not sold on that entirely, like being like his ideal fit in place that he thought that he wanted to go. And I'll say the same thing for the Titans, like Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis or Malik Willis. Like, you don't know who's really gonna be the guy there. To me, it feels like Hopkins is just kind of bouncing around now, waiting to see and just kind of picking from the bottom of the barrel.
I think teams want him.
No, not with the PEDs. It's not, to me, it's not that he wanted out of Houston, because that was a mess entirely with that head coach also being the GM, making bonehead moves. That was really bad. Then he goes to Arizona, which also seems to be like a place actually no player wants to be. So him wanting out of those places doesn't bother me, but it is the PEDs that probably bring a lot of GMs to be like, I'm investing millions of dollars in you, and you might just go take a PED again and be suspended for another year, possibly more, because it's not your first offense. I understand why he isn't. And something that I don't understand, Saquon Barkley is holding out in New York. This running back market is wild right now. Jacobs came out and said that he is waiting for the big contract, not because he's greedy or anything like that. He wants to do right by the guys in the future. He wants to like sacrifice himself somehow, put himself up and be like, you know what? I will be the one to hold out. I will be the one to, you know, make all that money just so the guys in the future, they get it good. And how is no one jumping at Dalvin Cook? I don't know what's happening in Minnesota. Like, you have Danielle Hunter wanting a trade. They traded away Zadarius Smith. Now you release Dalvin Cook. That's an entire mess in itself. But how does no one want Dalvin Cook? I know
I don't think running backs are a crucial part of the offense right now. I don't think they're the make or break for pretty much any team right now. I don't think there's any team, that I think there's a lot of teams that could benefit from their running back, but I'm just thinking back at the last couple, like, just recent Super Bowls. None of them were taken over by a running back. It's a passing league. This is all air raid offense. And the last time it came even close to that might have been when they didn't hand it to Marshawn at the 2-yard line. You just don't see running backs being the one. Again, I'm not saying running backs aren't an essential part of an offense that can be used, pretty damn well. But it might be coming across to these offenses that they can turn not any, but a large portion of available running backs into a formidable force by building their O-line, by having a good passing game that opens up the run. You don't necessarily have to have that guy that, runs over everybody, because those are the same guys that are getting hurt all the time. To run right into a pile, they're tearing stuff, they're getting concussions. And I'm not saying it's not true for other positions as well, but it's pretty clear that when it comes to, the pecking order of players that are considered skill positions, if any team is going to pick one to be like, we'll go find something and we'll find something cheap and make it work, it's the running back at this point. And if any year is a clear indicator of that, you listed off all the names. Nobody wants to pay these guys. And that's kind of where I'm at with I'm not somehow find a way to make this video talk slightly about the Lions again, but it's kind of one of the reasons why I'd look at the Lions and be like, you know what? Kind of glad you took a fair price on someone like Montgomery, and then you went and got a rookie.
Yep.
Because if he's a big part of your offense, not a lot of running backs are making it past that rookie deal anyway.
Yep.
So it's I don't want to sound like oh, it sucks to suck, but it's kind of like, it sounds like that's just the way running backs are now. And it's unfortunate because you like to see these guys, but doesn't seem like there's many opportunities for a running back to go into 5th and 6th years and still be a star anymore.
All right, and that was all the news worth mentioning this week across the 4 major sports. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Next week's probably going to be crazy now that 2 more sports have ended.